Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news. This is the business of sports.
The business of sports can be intimidating or hard for a startup to break into.
We really appreciate when our owners are actually there, with us through the journey.
Teams, ours especially, have been very intentional to diversify at all levels of the company.
I think we're in the golden years for the NFL and college football.
Our demographic reach has continued to expand.
This is going to be really unlocking the streaming platform for sports fans.
Sports valuations are rising. We'll see when they peak.
You don't have to be the best in your sport to make a whole ton of money.
Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr, along with Damian Sassower. Vanessa Perdomo will join us a bit later on in the show. Coming up, we'll talk about the WNBA's Las Vegas Aces and star guard Jewell Loyd on her family office venture.
It's not about money. It's really about the impact, healing, and ownership. I think our mission is to really help families, founders, communities build generational power. And aligning that with capital and purpose.
Plus, we'll hear from the commissioner of Major League Pickleball, Samin Odhwani, on pickleball's growing popularity. All that and more is straight ahead on the Bloomberg Business of Sports. But first, Eli Manning is working to put together a bid to buy a stake in the team he won 2 Super Bowls for, the New York Giants. Here to take us through what we know is friend of the show, Bloomberg US sports business reporter Randall Williams. Randall, welcome back to the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
I appreciate you all for having me.
Well, we got a couple things to talk about. So I'm going to start, first of all, with let's talk about Eli Manning. And now Eli Manning's thinking, hey, you know what? My old team, I wouldn't mind owning just a piece of that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Mayer and Tisch families put a 10% stake up for sale. That's what the number has been reported originally by the Sports Business Journal. Eli has long said, I think it was on CNBC earlier this year, that if there was one team that he was going to own a piece of, it was going to be the Giants. It's sort of a no-brainer here that he's thrown his name in the hat to buy at least a piece of that 10%, maybe not the full thing, but part of it for sure.
So talk to us a little bit, Randall. I mean, what are the Giants valued at here? Is it something on the order of $8 billion? Is it some? I mean, so 10%, $800 million. Like, walk me through the numbers here. I mean, like, would Eli carry a substantial, stake in the team? I mean, would he have at least, some sort of say in how the team is managed? What are your thoughts there?
I think a lot of it is to be determined. Like, if you think about the way that the Miami Dolphins and Stephen Ross were able to get to $8.1 billion, and then Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles got to 8.3, and New York is bigger than both of those cities. Just from the market perspective, I would imagine that the Giants would go for more than both of those teams, or at least a stake would go for both of those teams. In regards to what Eli and his position within the Giants is going to be, it really depends on what the Mariners want it to be. I mean, the Giants obviously haven't had much success over the last decade. Eli surely could come in and provide some football analysis the same way that Tom Brady is doing for Mark Davis and the Las Vegas Raiders.
I was just going to get into that, because now if this goes through with Eli, he's going to have the same problem that Tom Brady had, because both are technically in the booth. Well, of course, Tom Brady, we know he's in the booth, but Eli and his brother Peyton, they have the Monday night cast where it's still they're broadcasting. Are they going to run into problems just like Tom Brady?
I'm not sure. I think that's a good question, and I think the NFL will definitely be meeting about it for if Eli, if Eli's bid does go to the point where they have to approve it. I think that some of the people that they're talking to on the Manning cast aren't active players, as well as, the people that they're speaking about during the games or most of the time are playing. So I think it's a little different, but there might be some owners in the NFL who look at this and are like, absolutely not. I want similar rules on Manning as that there are on Brady. So we'll have to see in the months to come.
Well, Manning is obviously very close with both the Mara and the Tisch families. He played for the team for 16 years. Randall, do you think that when he goes to actually sign on the dotted line and take his stake in the team, that he dresses like Chad Powers, puts on a big mustache, pretends like he's a walk-on at Penn State University? I mean, let's switch gears a little bit. I mean, it's a great story, but the real story for me, Michael Barr, the Washington Commanders. I mean, they are getting to play in their own stadium again. Talk to us a little bit about that, Randall. What's the word?
I think that Josh Harris and what he has done with the team is simply remarkable. If you remember the state of the Commanders just 3 years ago, and just the the worry that other NFL owners that Roger Goodell had just because of Dan Snyder, and then Josh Harris buys the team. They're not very good in year one, but then he commits to saying like, okay, we're going to get better. They draft Jaden Daniels, they hire Dan Quinn, they put a good front office in place, and they have this miraculous season. And along the way, there is stadium talks. Like that's the number one thing on his mind. The product on the field was taking care of itself, but the stadium thing was not certain that he was going to be able to get RFK Stadium.
Not at all.
And the fact that 2 years later he has a deal is just insane.
Well, I mean, think about that, Randall. I mean, Josh Harris, I mean, you're absolutely right. Roger Goodell, I mean, they had written it off under the Snyder years. And then Roger Goodell, and I didn't even know this, he's been in D.C. He's been lobbying the government, for what now to walk me through this, because I didn't understand. So the RFK site was controlled by the federal government and not D.C. And what needed to happen was it needed to change hands. Is that right?
Yeah. So in December, they voted to, I think it was Congress voted to shift it from the federal government to D.C. And then Joe Biden, or former President Joe Biden, signed it in on one of his last days in office. So this was miraculous that this happened. And then, of course, you have these months that come, it's some, let's say 120 days later, and you have a deal. But you think about the way that other stadiums and teams and local governments have to make these deals. It normally doesn't happen this quick. The fact that, the mayor is sitting there, you have Josh Harris, you have Roger Goodell, who are all committing it's 3.8. I'm sure it will get to $4 billion to a stadium. I'm astounded.
I think that what impressed me the most was, well, first of all, they came out with a statement. They played until the mid 1990s at the old RFK, which, old man Barr, I remember that, ingrained in my head. And what impressed me, though, was here's Joe Theismann, and he's making the announcement on the video, hey, this is going to happen. And one of the things that he mentions is that, we're talking about more than just a new stadium. We're talking about a food hall and all the other amenities.
Yeah, the way that the plan is right now, it'll be the second most expensive stadium ever behind SoFi. And anyone who's been to SoFi is a palace. And I think this stadium very well could be the exact same. I mean, what a lot of these owners are looking at is that if you get a new stadium, you put a dome on it, and now all of a sudden you can host the Super Bowl. And I can assure you that if/when this stadium gets built, it's 2025 today, 2035, there might be a Super Bowl in Washington, D.C.
Well, Randall, now you're there, right? I mean, here's what I don't understand. Why only 65,000 in capacity, right? I mean, isn't East Rutherford, isn't MetLife 82,000, 83,000? I mean, why not go for the, Ann Arbor 100,000? I mean, like, are those stadiums, do they not make financial sense? I guess I'm curious. Or is it a space issue? I mean, is it not big enough to handle that kind of size? I'm wondering out loud here, Randall. Any thoughts there?
I think it's more so a cost thing. I mean, you want to make sure that the money you're putting into it provides the best experience possible. And it isn't always a guarantee that the more people you have, the louder it is, just because you're adding voices in there. It really depends on, like, if you go to a Chiefs game at Arrowhead and you go to a Packers game, like, the environment of these stadiums is different because the culture of each team is different. In regards to the Commanders, I think that when you put $4 billion or 3.8 or $3 billion into a stadium and it's going to put 65,000 and it's going to be a state-of-the-art arena, I'm sure the fans, when they get there, are going to lose their mind, not only because of Jaden Daniels playing, but also because they have a $3 billion stadium.
I'm going to add an addendum to that, and I think there is another reason why. I'm from the old Detroit Lions era of the Pontiac Silverdome, and it had about almost 80, 90,000 seats, and a lot of time, maybe more than that, and a lot of times it didn't sell out, which means if it didn't sell out, you were not going to get local coverage. The game had to sell out for that to happen, and I'm wondering, if you keep it down to 65,000, you could sell it out easier.
I think so too. But I think that when you have Jaden Daniels leading your team based on his rookie season alone, I mean, God willing, he's going to be a superstar quarterback in the league for another 10, 15 years. But he's going to pack out that stadium regardless of what happens. I don't think they're going to have any trouble. And Josh Harris, I mean, he's been a wonderful owner for DC. So if things go awry in DC, you have an owner that you trust to build a team all over again. And I mean, it's truly remarkable what he's done in 730 days.
Well, Randall, one last thing for our audience. I mean, let's crystallize this. I mean, the project is expected to create, get this, 2,000 permanent jobs, another 14,000 jobs during construction, and over 30 years, direct spending on the project may surpass $15 billion for the DC metro area. So, I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. And look, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, Josh Harris, a friend of the show, John Fascitelli, I'm going to shout out to him. He's going to be busy here, right? He used to run real estate for Josh Harris and Harris Blitzers. So, I got to believe, there's going to be a lot of contracts, a lot of people involved with this. It's going to be great for the city of DC, right, Randall?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the number one thing that the city of DC wants is a Super Bowl, of course. So, you get a Super Bowl, you get a new stadium, and then you host a Super Bowl. Everybody in DC is going to be losing their minds.
Yeah, and you mentioned about, I know we're starting to run short of time, but you mentioned about Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. And she's been pushing for this for, a long time. And like you said, it's they could have lost the whole thing to Virginia, but they didn't. And good for them, I mean, because she really stepped up to the plate in this one. Forgive the pun.
Yeah, she did. I mean, Harris is committing like $2.7 billion himself, or Harris and the Commanders are committing $2.7 billion. Then you have the city of DC that has $1.1 billion. That's a lot of money, but if you think about it from the percentages, that's roughly 75% Commanders and 25% the people of DC, and that's a good deal for a $4 billion stadium. If you think about what Chicago is doing and where the Chiefs are, and I'm sure there's going to be some other teams that are going to face stadium issues somewhere down the line. This is a great deal.
Yeah, the only thing I guess I could think about that might be a negative, but I mean, kudos to Harris. I mean, if there's anyone who could figure this out, it's him. But, all of the Washington, D.C. based office space right now with the government layoffs after post-Doge, I wonder if that'll, maybe that means now's the time, right, to capitalize on the fact that real estate's cheap, right? So, Josh Harris, man, kudos to the Commanders. I mean, and Jaden Daniels, I can't wait to see him running. Randall, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the turf they were playing on, I forget the name of the stadium where they've been playing, wasn't that voted the worst to play on by NFL players over the past 3 years or something crazy?
Yeah, I think it's Northwest Field or Northwest Stadium after it was renamed from FedEx Field, and it's never been popular. I mean, you think about some of the things that have happened there over the past couple of years. Jalen Hurts is walking into the locker room, the guardrail falls, you have the pipe that burst, and the team said it was rainwater. The fans said it was sewage. That stadium is a dump, and they won't be there too much longer, though.
I forgot all about the guardrail falling down, man. Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, you're right, man. Well, thanks to Bloomberg US sports business reporter Randall Williams for joining us. Up next, we turn to the world of pickleball for Damian Sassower. I'm Michael Barr. You're listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
This is the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr, along with Vanessa Perdomo. Pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports, with Major League Pickleball driving around $50 million in revenue in 2024, not including revenue generated by individual teams. Here to talk to us more about the league and the growth of pickleball, we welcome Major League Pickleball Commissioner Samin Odhwani. Samin, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Hey, I tell you what, now, here's old man Barr coming through, and I know Vanessa's like, oh, God, what old stories are you going to tell now? When pickleball first came out, I'm like, oh, that's cute. It's, this is a cute little sport. It's like, I don't know if it's going to pick up steam. And then pickleball said, shut up, Barr, because this thing just took off to the moon.
That's right. I mean, in some part, we've had a lot of success because so many people are playing. And the question was always, come on, is pro pickleball real? Are people really going to tune into this? And then, like you said, we're sitting in this office, and you clearly know about the sport. Vanessa clearly knows about the sport. I'm the commissioner of Major League Pickleball, so it's here. And I think more than anything else, it's come faster than any of us anticipated. And a big part of that has been the fact that we've had influencers and high-profile people really lean in and kind of say, hey, we believe in this thing too. I used to work for Kevin Durant. I convinced the guy to buy a pickleball team. And we actually had him out playing. He's not, he might not love that I'm saying this. He's not very good. But he got it. He understood the sort of belief that, hey, it can have old people and young people and they can compete and have a chance to sort of showcase some of the things that they loved about team sports growing up.
I mean, you mentioned KD, right? And then it's LeBron and it's Tom Brady. How does it happen that way? And are all those profiles and all those people the reason why it's been able to grow so fast and sustain itself?
I don't know if it's the driver of it growing. I think the real root of it growing is the amateurs playing and just the fact that, post-COVID, for all intents and purposes, pickleball didn't exist before the pandemic. And now it's sort of exploded into this thing that
Tell that
feels
to
like
gym classes, okay? I had to play in high school, I think.
And I think what's interesting and fun for us is the people that are leaning in kind of represent in some ways the diversity of the demographic that's playing. And so when you have Jewell Loyd and KD and Tom Brady and Gary Vaynerchuk all kind of believing in a thing, it's sort of representative of what's happening on the court, where you can go out with your grandparent or the four of us can go play, and within 10 minutes, like, we'd be having a nice competitive match.
Well, Samin, I'll tell you this, just the fact that my country club up in Greenwich, Connecticut, Tamarack, is converting 2 of its tennis courts into pickleball just tells you everything you need to know, and I'm seeing it everywhere. Now, riddle me this, what needs to take place in order to get real buy-in from the youth, from colleges, from, the next generation, so that we can kind of feed in to a professional pickleball league? What are you doing? What efforts are the Pickleball Association making in order to make that happen? So
for us, a big focus has been launching our junior PPA tour. And the thought there is, look, sometimes the universities and the NCAA, they're kind of like last movers. Like, you got to show them that there's a bunch of people that want to do this, and then they'll sanction it, right? And they'll turn it into sort of a Division I sport. And so our focus was, look, we're kind of going faster than anyone anticipated. I mean, in terms of growth and how quickly the sport is sort of taken up, participation at the youth level. And so we said, let's launch the junior tour. And if it turns into, varsity sports, or it turns into an NCAA Division I sport, great. That's the outcome that we all want. But we're able to move at a pace that allows for us to be able to kind of own and operate that tournament. And these young kids, it's amazing. They're on their phones following their tour ranking points. Oh, I just beat my friend, Riley 11-9, and I just jumped him in the rankings. I mean, it's amazing to see how into it they've become.
I'm amazed by how many big name investors, and you were touching off on it earlier. Drake's also in it. The other Michael Jordan with a B in it. He's also there. There are a lot of key investors that have picked up in this sport, and I just see it growing and growing.
And the funny part is, you go on Drake's Gram, he's posted about him playing pickleball. He plays at his place out in the Caribbean, which is unbelievable. Another really big player is Jamie Foxx. The guy has 3 courts in his backyard in LA, hosts high-level games. So I think it's one of those things, again, where, like, if you were young and competitive and you enjoyed that competitive spirit, this is kind of an outlet for you in a way to do that, longer into your life.
Yeah. So, Samin, let me ask you this. Franchise valuation, you hear about all these stars, all these, big high-profile names that are investing in these pickleball teams. But, in order to get to profitability, like, how are they thinking about this? Like, how do you value a pickleball team? Like, what goes into it? What's the pay like? Walk us through that.
So the players are earning over $30 million in aggregate to be a pro pickleball player. So the average player makes north of $250,000. Well, and some people say, well, that's not very good for your P&L. Okay, sure, but indulge me for a second. What you're able to do when you allow them to earn that high of a living is they're able to do it full time. And so all of a sudden, our 150 professional players are able to host camps and clinics and do appearances and come out to 20, 25 tournaments a year as we're traveling all around the country. So the thesis was, if we let these players do it full time, it in turn will benefit the pro game. So your valuations in franchise point, the unique structure with us is we operate kind of 2 distinct brands. We have Major League Pickleball, which is the team format, and then we have the PPA Tour, which is the tour format, kind of like golf, tennis, etc. As an investor, you get both. So you get a chance to sort of have a part in the upside of pro pickleball as a whole. I think we're going to learn more and more. Is it the tour format that works? Is it the team format that works? Is it both that work? And we'll get that 1 + 1 = 3. But we're excited about the fact that people are all in on pro pickleball as an investor, and they then get to see and partake in kind of the parts of it that they enjoy and like. From a financial perspective, I think we've benchmarked this as, look, there's 20 million people playing. every other sport that has 20 million plus people playing, golf, tennis, baseball, soccer, basketball, all have multi-billion-dollar sports properties that sit at the top. So I genuinely believe if you were to sort of benchmark this off of that theory and say, hey, how do I just turn doers into viewers, I think pickleball could see itself as having a ceiling as high as that.
Really interesting. And I want to talk about the MLP and the PPA. You just touched on it. It's the first year that that you guys have come together, and we'll have the whole season together. Tell us how it's going to be different than it was before.
Yeah, so the thought last year was let's just stand this thing up and get it going, because there was a merger at the beginning of the year. The tours were kind of fighting, and there was a tour wars, and we kind of came together literally a year ago today, actually. And so the thought was, look, there's some shared efficiencies in operating two tours. Let's put them next to each other. Let's run the PPA one week and then sort of the MLP the week after in the same market. Turns out it was hard to squeeze that much juice, let's say, out of one city. There wasn't that much demand for it. So going into this year, we said, let's bifurcate the seasons. Let's put the tour and have it run fall, spring, August to April, and then let's have MLP own the summer, because as many people know in sports who follow it closely, there's not a ton of competition in the summer for team sports. So MLP running April to August actually starts tomorrow. So a little shout out, little plug, MLP Orlando kicks off then. And it's exciting for us because we then get to build those storylines, build sort of that momentum, and it culminates in the finals in New York City in Central Park. And so we hope that condensed season will kind of lend itself to a better viewership product, so you can actually stay tuned versus that ebb and flow that we had last year.
See, and now I'm going to mess with Vanessa's head. So so I want to bring this conversation up. Could you see Vanessa, because she played just big time soccer when she was at Duquesne? Well, now she's got a busted wheel.
Yeah, now I have a broken foot, but let's take that out of the equation. Right? Yeah.
Vanessa, could you see yourself playing pro pickleball? Because you're talking about $250,000 a year.
Right. I mean, I'll try anything for $250,000 a year. No, I mean, I think it's interesting because I actually, we've done a story on this with our show Next in Sports, and I got to play with Annalie Waters, who's the #1 player in the world, 16-year-old, at the time.
Playing with Andre Agassi next week,
she was 16. She, kicked my butt, so we don't need another explicit there. She kicked my butt, but it was really interesting, seeing someone her age decide to play pickleball instead of tennis. And I think that's what we need to start seeing more, right? It's the junior players, like you were saying before, they need to pick up pickleball instead of tennis because it is a different sport. And, I think once that is, they see the way, but she's leading the way already, and she's making really good money. So I personally probably couldn't do it now, but maybe a couple years ago, if I started before my 30s, I probably could have.
Well, Samin, let me ask you this. Annalie Waters, it's rumored she made somewhere on the order of $3 million last year, right? And now she's taken, smartly, Andre Agassi as her doubles partner, right? And so talk to us about more of that, about the integration of tennis and pickleball and how that can kind of fuel, all of this interest going forward.
Yeah, I think to date, it's been a little bit of like a mini rivalry, right? Tennis people are like, oh, I don't know about pickleball. Pickleball people are like, let us play on your courts. Come on, no one's using
right,
them.
Exactly.
And I actually think long term, that's like a really naive view to take because it could be super synergistic. Like, just think no farther than where we are today, right? The US Open facility is effectively empty 49 weeks out of the year. The idea that we could bring pickleball to that event, that venue, and sort of participate in everything that's amazing that they've built with the stadiums and the facilities and all of that great stuff, I do think there's a long-term opportunity for us to be synergistic. And even tomorrow, when our season kicks off in Orlando, we're at the USTA National Center in Orlando. They've built 8 to 10 permanent pickleball courts. And so I do believe that we need to get better at sort of being more synergistic versus having this sort of pseudo rivalry. To your point about this tennis stars, Jeannie Bouchard, Jack Sock, Donald Young, Andre Agassi have all kind of come over to pickleball and are playing full time. And someone like Andre, it's sort of extending his competitive career, which is great. And him getting to pair with Annalie Waters, I think they're just doing it for this one tournament because I'm sure Annalie couldn't probably drag him to the gold, like she can in some of our other tournaments. But for this one, it should be really exciting.
Now, one thing about pickleball that I like, if you want to buy a team, you want to try to buy an NFL team, good luck, because unless you have Damian Sassower money, it ain't going to happen. But you could buy a team for about $10 million, which is very reasonable.
Yeah, and I do think that's been a big reason why we've seen some investors really kind of lean in because, like you said, it's what the Celtics sold for $6.1 billion. I mean, how many people have 6.1, ready to dish out for a sports franchise? And so if you go downstream, now you're talking about NWSL, WNBA, Major League Pickleball, and the asset allocation and the dollars that you have to put towards it is a bit more reasonable. And oh, by the way, the asset class of sports, as you guys know well, is super hot. I think the other part for us that's been attractive for investors like Drake and Michael Jordan, it's asset light. You don't need to do a ton. We take on a lot of the operating. We sign the players. So you get to do the fun stuff. You get to be GM, coach. Oh, hey, I want to pick up this player. Oh, I'm going to go for Annalie Waters in the draft. And you get to kind of be the hype person and sell sponsorship and market the team that you want. And I do think that's kind of made it a little bit of a nicer on-ramp for those that are kind of coming into sports.
Thanks to Samin Odhwani, Commissioner of Major League Pickleball. Up next, we turn to the WNBA and speak with Las Vegas Aces guard Jewell Loyd about her business venture, Loyd Company. For Vanessa Perdomo, I'm Michael Barr. You're listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.
This is Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio.
Thanks for joining us on the Bloomberg Business of Sports, where we explore the big money issues in the world of sports. I'm Michael Barr, along with Damian Sassower and Vanessa Perdomo. Jewell Loyd has plenty of success on the basketball court as a two-time WNBA champion winning guard for the Las Vegas Aces. She also co-founded a conviction-based financial firm, Loyd Company, and she's here now to talk to us about the venture and her career in business. Jewell Loyd, welcome to the Bloomberg Business of Sports, co-founder of Loyd Company. And you have something that I really think is very cool, and it's what you started, a business, and it's I wonder why it took so long. It's called Help with My Loan. Can you explain what that's all about?
Yeah, honestly, the whole idea and the concept really came about when I was actually trying to get a loan for myself to buy a home. And I realized how hard and the struggle I was to really do that. And the concept of just knowing, that I, who I was and, having just a difficult time. People looked at me and said, like, are you old enough to buy a home? Like, do you want to buy a home do you want to buy a home in the suburbs? Like, whatever you do, like, what do you do? What do your parents do? And all the questions, I was like, why is it this hard? I don't understand. Like, I have the money, I have, I want to buy my first home. Like, why are you making this so difficult? And so after going through that process, I called my brother. I'm like, there has to be a better way for people, not just me, but for a lot of people to find ways to live their dreams, get their dreams, start their dreams. There has to be. So kind of looking into that concept and understanding that, we were able to acquire Help with My Loans. And it's a fintech platform, which makes it a really easy small business to access capital and on a scale. And so by doing that, we've already seen the change of understanding how to acquire ownership, but also I think the best thing about it is that you're never going to hear no. And that's something that I love to hear, because so many times people go in to try to start, reality, and the reality hits that you're not going to be able to get that loan. Sometimes you can't even get meetings to actually even acquire the understanding of what that is. And so having Help My Loans has really changed a lot. And the fact that we're able to bring it to Chicago and have people work and give opportunities to, people who can't find jobs or want to get into the fintech world, it's been a really great and amazing opportunity.
Jewell, I love that story because obviously that has that personal aspect to it. You have that personal connection to it. And that's the whole idea right behind starting a family office, right? And because you have the financial side of it, but you really have your own personal ethos that you're able to put into it. It's not just about making money. It's about what you want it to be. So tell us more about the ethos and the mission behind Loyd Company.
Yeah, Loyd Company, my brother and I started it together, and really it's not about money. It's really about the impact, healing, and ownership. I think our mission is to really help families, founders, communities build generational power and aligning that with capital and purpose. And so that's kind of been our mission, and that's really what it's all about, and that's how we were raised. That's how we go about our thing. And I think that when you don't make it about the actual tangible money aspect, you actually make it about impact. It really actually change your mindset, because now you're affecting the hearts and minds of people, not just the financial statement.
Vanessa, did you know Jewell is a pro pickleball player? Did you know that? And by the way, she's also an investor in the Miami Pickleball Club. And, maybe, Jewell, I can ask you this. Why do pickleball players get paid more than WNBA athletes? I mean, talk to us a little bit about what is going wrong in the WNBA right now and how we're going to change that.
I kind of have a different mindset of that and that question. And I love pickleball. Yes, being a part of the ownership group in Miami Pickleball League has been amazing, fantastic. I love the sport. I think it's super dynamic. I think it's just a cool way to just meet people, but also it's very inclusive. And I think that's been the biggest shift. Is obviously COVID helped a lot too, right? It got really boomed after that. But I think that's a big shift. And yes, the money is a little different, but I also think it's just different opportunities as well. You could play all year round. It's now it's international. So I think that just has a lot of more eyes on it. But compared to WNBA, like we're right where we're supposed to be. The shift is happening, and the league's getting better. The marketing's coming around, and so it's just opportunity. I don't see one better than the other. Honestly, I mean, I play both. I love both sports. I love both communities, both organizations, the business aspect of both, and both companies are honestly in the growth stage. So it's cool to see different trajectories on both because as a business person, you want to see that. Like, what's the shift? Like, what's the wave? Like, what's going on? And that's kind of how I look at both leagues.
Well, Jewell, let me ask you this then. What's the pickleball competition like in Las Vegas? I mean, you just moved from Seattle. I mean, talk to us a little bit about what we have in store for the Las Vegas Aces this year.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here in Vegas. I haven't spent that much time actually in Vegas besides just playing here as a visitor. So now being set and having a home base here has been really awesome. And, I have a pickleball place, Chicken and Pickle, not too far from where I stay. So I always drive by, like, scoping out the competition, like, who's over there today? Like, I'm kind of always curious about that. But no, I think all in all, it's a fresh new start for me and my career.
Wilson, yeah.
Off and on the court. So I'm super excited. I'm ready to really embrace this community.
I want to talk about a disability that you are helping to bring attention to, and I had no idea until I was reading this that you have dyslexia, and you are working hard to improve lives of children who have learning disabilities like that. Tell us about that, about the Dyslexic Advantage and Eye to Eye.
Yeah, it's I guess growing up, we didn't really talk about it. Having a learning disability was kind of like a quote unquote bad thing, right? It was like a stigma, and we didn't really know what it was, didn't talk about it. Definitely not in sports. It wasn't really brought up. And, for me, not having someone who necessarily looked like me or had the same struggles I had, it was just like, I felt like I was the only one. I felt like, oh my gosh, right? And so as you kind of go through your journey, you realize that the more you share your story, the more it actually helps you heal it and then also impact people around it. And so it's been fascinating to find, working with Eye to Eye and bringing more awareness to it, but finding other ways to learn, understanding that everyone is one-of-one and everyone's special, and having, a disability doesn't stop you from being who you are, being a human. I think that's really important, definitely, because as an athlete, people sometimes only see you as an athlete. They forget that you're human, that you have daily struggles, issues, concerns, feelings, all those things. And so this kind of allowed me to find another way to be vulnerable with my fans and find different communities to really embrace me and my story and my journey.
That's great. I mean, clearly you're doing a lot there in that space. And again, what you're doing with your family office as well, really balancing the personal and your career as well. I have to talk. We talked about pickleball. We talked a little bit about the W. We're going to get to it a little bit more. But speaking of other leagues, we had to talk about Unrivaled. Right. It just wrapped up the inaugural season. You played in it. It was one of the first times we're really seeing a league like this off season in the U.S. You've played overseas in Turkey, Spain, and China. Tell us about playing off season in the U.S. and just the experience that Unrivaled was.
No, it's definitely a great experience. Obviously being stateside helps a lot. Just for family, your lifestyle, it's you're familiar with it. I think that makes it a lot more comfortable. And I think that was really cool about Unrivaled is that you actually be able to be an owner. I'm really big on that. Obviously, that's why we're here talking about business and sports, right? But yes. I love that aspect because I love ownership and understanding how that works and understanding the other side of how to really grow something from the ground up. And so you have that mindset on top of playing with some of the great players in the world. I brought a different atmosphere, different fan group. It's a little bit different, obviously playing 3-on-3 full court, but it was fun. And obviously everyone got through the season healthy. And it was really cool. So it's really, I think it's dynamic, and it definitely sparked a lot of conversation around women's sports.
Mm-hmm. Jewell, I know you hate hearing about it by now, but Caitlin Clark, Paige Becker's, the new crop of talent that's coming into the WNBA, save nothing for the Lloyd Stewart Bird Championship core that, rounded Seattle for all those years. But, talk to us a little bit about, the transition, about the evolution of this new generation of talent. And, what are your thoughts as we kind of enter, into this sort of year 2 or whatever we're in now of Caitlin Clark and what can fans expect here?
No, I mean, this new generation of basketball players, it's awesome. It really is. If you're a fan of basketball in any capacity, you love this. This is what you want to see. It's just the growth of the game, the growth of players' confidence, movement, the strategy of coaching, the schemes, all those things. It's just remarkable, and that's what we want. And so I love basketball. I love watching even my nephew, who, is like 11. I go and watch his games. I'm like blown away, right? So it's like all totality of basketball is really good. And so to have anything that's just new, fresh, new drama, new storylines, that's what really pushes sports, and that's what people want. So it's been really great to just see that. And I'm really excited for the women's game, and even college. I think it starts there too. It's been a shift in women's sports there too, and so many great athletes have put in the work and time to just work on their craft.
And you are also the franchise owner of a Smoothie King, which we all know manufactures tires.
Here we go.
And what is it like when you are a franchise owner trying to make it in today's world?
For me, it's really about the people. I really value the people. So going to Smoothie King and seeing my staff and all those things, I'm like, this is awesome. I love smoothies, so it kind of worked out too. It's a healthy lifestyle.
So does Michael Barr.
I love it. I understand the business. I understand the smoothie. I understand location. So I'm like, why not? Right. And so having that mindset has been great. And it's something I really enjoy. And it's really for the community. I really got involved because it was right where I grew up. It's really local. And I'm able to work with the school, Bridges School, which is probably 10 minutes away from the Smoothie King. So kids and people with learning disabilities, and they come and work at the Smoothie King. So it's just so like heartwarming and awesome that I'm able to give back and also provide a service and business to the community. So I love the whole aspect, and that's actually why I also bought a farm. The same reason, like it's just like I just love having that combo of learning the business, helping the community, giving back, and then actually like trying to leave a legacy behind it.
See, here's your logo. I got it for you, Vanessa.
God.
If, like me, you want a ring, just come on down to Smoothie King.
Woo! Bars. Michael Barr.
I like
the
that.
bars.
I like that.
Just call me Darren Stevens. That's all right. That's good.
No, I like that. We'll whip that on a shirt and we'll sell it and get some proceeds for it.
Yeah.
Jewell Loyd, co-founder of Loyd & Company. And, she's a 2-time WNBA champion. and she has won 3 times the All-WNBA and 6-time All-Star and also 2015 Rookie of the Year.
Gold medalist also.
Just
a few of those.
She knows what she's doing. Jewell, thank you so much.
We're getting there. I appreciate it, guys. This has been a blast. I really do appreciate the time, and we'll check in a couple 6 months to see the update. So we'll ride it out here.
And hey, thank you. For my colleagues, Damian Sassower and Vanessa Perdomo, I'm Michael Barr. Now, if you missed any of our conversation today, listen on demand with the Bloomberg Business of Sports podcast. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Tune in again next week for the latest on the stories moving big old money in the world of sports. You're listening to the Bloomberg Business of Sports from Bloomberg Radio around the world.